Welcome to this eye-opening exploration of the top 10 US cities with the largest Muslim population in 2024. From the bustling streets of New York City to the small but culturally rich town of Hamtramck, these cities have become home to thriving Muslim communities. But what caused these migrations? Was it the lure of work opportunities, or did devastating wars and conflicts drive people to seek a new life? As we explore each city, we'll uncover the key factors behind these population shifts. Be sure to watch till the end and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Let's dive in. Number 10. New York City, New York, home to more than 8.3 million people, has a Muslim population of 6.4%, or about 531,200 residents. The city's Muslim community is incredibly diverse, with immigrants from Bangladesh, Yemen, Egypt, and West Africa. Why did so many Muslims come to New York City? After World War II, many West African and Yemeni Muslims began arriving as economic migrants, seeking jobs in the city's construction and service industries. More recently, conflicts in Yemen, Egypt, and Bangladesh have driven families to flee political turmoil, violence, and poverty. New York City's unmatched diversity, economic opportunities, and vibrant Muslim community have made it a top destination for Muslims from across the globe. The city is now home to over 275 mosques, offering a wealth of resources for its Muslim residents. The Muslim population has grown by about 0.5% since 2020, as immigrants continue to arrive, and second-generation Muslim Americans raise families in the city. Number 9. Chicago, Illinois, has a Muslim population of 6.9%, or around 191,700 people out of a total population of 2.8 million. Many of these Muslims have roots in South Asia, Pakistan, and India, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe. Did you know Chicago's Muslim community began forming in the late 19th century with the arrival of Syrian and Palestinian immigrants escaping Ottoman persecution? Later, in the 1960s and 1970s, Pakistani and Indian Muslims came for work in the engineering and medical sectors. Recent conflicts in Iraq and Syria have driven a new wave of immigrants, making Chicago one of the largest and most diverse Muslim hubs in the Midwest. The Muslim population has increased by about 0.7% since 2020, as immigrants continue to arrive and establish permanent homes. Number 8. Houston, Texas, with a Muslim population of 7.4% out of 2.3 million residents, is home to around 170,200 Muslims. Immigrants from South Asia, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, and the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq began settling here for both economic and political reasons. Its booming energy sector attracted many skilled professionals from oil-rich countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, as well as immigrants fleeing political instability in Pakistan and Iraq. During the 1980s and 1990s, many Muslims sought better educational and career opportunities in this rapidly growing city. Houston's Muslim population has grown by about 0.8% since 2020, largely due to continued migration and the high birth rate among Muslim families. Number 7. Los Angeles, California, with a Muslim population of 8.5% out of 4 million residents, is home to about 340,000 Muslims, many of whom have come from Iran, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. These migrations were largely driven by wars and political upheaval, as well as a search for economic opportunity. Did you know that after the Iranian Revolution in 1979, many Iranian Muslims fled to the US, seeking refuge from the Islamic regime? Similarly, Afghan Muslims began arriving in the 1980s after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, followed by more during the War on Terror. Did you know Los Angeles is home to one of the largest Persian Muslim communities in the world outside of Iran? The city's Muslim population has grown by about 1% since 2020, reflecting the continuous arrival of immigrants seeking better economic opportunities and a permanent place to call home. Number 6. Paterson, New Jersey. Nicknamed Little Istanbul, Paterson has a Muslim population of 13.4% out of 160,000 residents, with about 21,500 Muslims living there. Most are immigrants from Turkey, Jordan, and Palestine, who have fled due to wars and economic hardship. Did you know Paterson's Muslim community began forming in the early 20th century with Turkish immigrants who came for work in the city's silk factories? Later waves from Palestine and Jordan arrived after World War II and during the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, seeking safety and stability. The community has only grown since then, with the Muslim population increasing by about 1.4% from 2020.
Number 5. Jersey City, New Jersey, home to about 292,000 people, has a Muslim population of 14.1%, or roughly 41,200 Muslims. Immigrants from Egypt, Bangladesh, and Pakistan have come to Jersey City over the past few decades, driven by both economic opportunity and political unrest in their home countries. Bangladeshis and Egyptians first began arriving in large numbers during the 1970s and 1980s, seeking economic opportunities in the booming service industries of New York City and its surroundings. Political instability in Pakistan during the 1990s, including the rise of military regimes, further encouraged migration to safer shores. Jersey City's affordable housing and its proximity to New York City make it an ideal gateway for new immigrants, offering them a chance at both economic mobility and community support. Since 2020, the Muslim population has increased by about 1.5%, up from 12.6%, as families continue to immigrate and settle here permanently. Jersey City is also known for its vibrant street markets and halal restaurants, making it a cultural hub for Muslims in the region. Number 4. Warren, Michigan, has a Muslim population of 22.1%, with around 30,000 Muslims out of a total population of 135,000. The city has long attracted immigrants from Lebanon, Syria, and other parts of the Middle East, who came to the US in waves to escape war and political instability. In particular, Lebanese Muslims began arriving in Warren during the 1980s, escaping the Lebanese Civil War. Many found work in Detroit's auto industry, but the city also attracted skilled workers, business owners, and professionals from Jordan and Palestine. More recently, Syrians fleeing civil war have settled here, further increasing the Muslim population. In 2020, the Muslim population was around 18%, marking a 4.1% increase in just 4 years. Number 3. Sterling Heights, Michigan. A suburban city has seen its Muslim population rise to 24.4% in 2024, with around 32,700 Muslim residents. Much of this increase comes from Iraqi and Syrian refugees who fled war-torn regions in search of safety and stability. The Iraq War in the 2000s and the rise of Islamic State of Iraq and Syria in the 2010 caused thousands of Iraqi Muslims, particularly Shiites and Kurds, to seek refuge in the United States. Many came to Sterling Heights due to its affordable housing and the presence of a growing Muslim community. In recent years, Syrian refugees fleeing the devastation of the Syrian civil war have also found a home in this suburban city. Did you know the city's Muslim population was only about 20% just 4 years ago? The 4.4% increase can be attributed to continued immigration and high birth rates among the community, as well as an influx of permanent residents choosing to stay. Number 2. Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn is known as the Arab American capital of the United States, with 30% of its 109,000 residents being Muslim. Many of these immigrants came from Lebanon, Iraq, and other parts of the Middle East, due to a mix of war, persecution, and economic opportunity. Lebanese Muslims started arriving in the 1920s, fleeing the French Mandate of Lebanon and seeking jobs in Ford's booming auto factories. Later, Iraqi Muslims arrived during the 1980s and 1990s, driven by the Iran-Iraq War, the Gulf War, and sanctions that devastated their country. More recently, conflicts like the Syrian Civil War and Islamic State of Iraq and Syria insurgency have forced families to leave their homes. In 2020, the Muslim population was about 28%, but due to immigration and higher birth rates, the number has grown to 30% in 2024. Many families have been here for generations, blending their cultural roots with American life, which explains the city's rich cultural tapestry today.
Number 1. Hamtramck, Michigan. Hamtramck has the highest percentage of Muslims in the US, with 42.4% of its 28,400 residents identifying as Muslim. This transformation was driven by waves of immigrants from Yemen, Bangladesh, and Bosnia, who fled their countries for a combination of economic and political reasons. Did you know many Yemeni immigrants arrived in the late 20th century, escaping civil wars and political instability in their homeland? Similarly, Bosnian Muslims began arriving during the 1990s following the Bosnian War, where ethnic cleansing campaigns targeted Muslim populations. Bangladeshi immigrants, on the other hand, were drawn by job opportunities in manufacturing and the service sector. Did you know Hamtramck is the first US city to elect a Muslim-majority city council? This happened in 2015, marking a significant cultural shift. The city's total population in 2024 is about 28,400, meaning over 12,000 residents are Muslim. Why such a large Muslim community in this small town? Inexpensive housing and the welcoming environment have made it a prime destination for immigrants. In 2020, the Muslim population was around 38%, so the increase to 42.4% in 2024 shows a steady influx of new immigrants and the growing younger generation that's settling in the city. Many of these families have become permanent residents, with deep roots now planted in this tight-knit community. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 US cities with the largest Muslim populations in 2024. Each city tells a unique story of migration driven by war, economic opportunity, or the hope of a better life. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Thanks for watching,